So how are you, man?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great. Everything going well?
Fictitiously well.
That's
What
good.
about you?
Yeah. It's been a good day. Had a good weekend. Obviously the rain kind of kept us inside most of the time. I was hoping to get on the bike and do a little bit of riding, but that didn't
Yeah,
happen. And but no, but all's good. Just been busy. Just been active.
good.
Active
Your
doing good
health is
things.
okay?
Oh yeah. Yeah, feeling
Good.
good. No issues there. All good. Man, your hair looks great.
This is this is still morning, Harry. So this is what you get.
I like it.
I appreciate it though. Thank you.
So I thought we would just do a kind of a quick video on secrets to success and really just talking about the things that you do in your business to create a remarkable customer experience and what sets you apart. And,
Okay.
and I'm not just talking about the technical side, but really the what what allows you to shine? What allows you to stand out? How do you differentiate yourself from everyone else out there? Because obviously the space that you're in, it's a crowded space, but you do such a phenomenal job of delivering value the way that you show up, and you're a magnet for people. And I, I I would love to hear from you what what you view your secret sauce to be. So that's it. Just
Okay.
keeping it very simple, keeping it real.
Okay. Are we good? Are we live?
Yeah, we can do it anytime. I'm recording, so I'll just kind of edit
Oh,
out our rambling and
all right. Well, it's a super. I don't think really anybody at any level is able to really give a good like I think it's all opinion based, right? Like success is such a there's no definitive. It's not that I've learned, no matter who I've come across, everybody's definition of success is so different. I used to base my definition of success when I was young with money, right? Like
Mhm.
I think everybody goes through a phase when they're younger, and then maybe it doesn't even reflect younger, but when you start to try to put money as the object or whatever that may be as success, then that may be somebody's reflection of I'm successful. I hit 1 million in my first quarter. As I'm getting older, I think I want to give somebody a way. I want my definitions of success to be actually practical and actually something that can be implemented, irregardless of background, irregardless of scholastic achievement, irregardless of geographical, all of it. So I just was thinking about this as you hit me, and I just came up with this, and I haven't read this, nor have I been told this before, and I just jotted it down to use in some kind of marketing paraphernalia. But I think success is rest.
Hmm.
I
Explain
think
that.
I don't know. I just came up with it. I think success, those that I seem to be most attracted to, and that what I'm striving for the most, as I'm personally 36 years old, and I've been told what success is. I've read a lot of what success is, but as I strive for what I continue to be, what I success, like where I want to succeed is more rest. Like I just want to chill. I enjoy my work. I enjoy what I have to do, but I enjoy not doing anything. I enjoy
So
resting.
so let's unpack that a little bit because
Mm-hmm,
you have a lot of work coming in, right? You
mm-hmm.
attract good clients. You seem to have a pretty full plate, so you're very active in that way. So how do you balance being able to either say no to things or creating that space for you to be able to rest and relax and live the definition of success as you defined it?
I think it's a constant evolution of evaluating oneself, like where you are. I don't know if this is like super conducive to a listener because it's like I'm not, you know me well, Jay. I'm not like a business mindset kind of guy. Your compliments and what I've achieved are mean the world to me, but I don't look at it in a perspective of anything business related. I started doing this with no business plan. I didn't have a lot of support, so to speak. I didn't have a blueprint. And the digital space 15 plus years ago was the wild, wild west. And now with everyone and their mothers being interneters, it absolutely has, I would say, made me stay agile and top of my game with what services and what type of platforms I should be implementing into my workforce. But how I unpack, it's like, I feel like you've heard me say this before, and if people have, then my apologies, but I feel like people that say they enjoy praying or working out aren't just doing it enough, right? So with me, where I find the balance is the minute that my prayer life and my alone time and with, spending time with the ringing in between my ears, once that starts to be depleted to some capacity or a frequency that I don't like, then I just recalibrate. And I don't ever, 15 plus years ago, I had to learn not one customer, not one job, not one particular club I may be involved with will ever be my source. No customer will ever be that one, like, oh, I got it. I'm working with, ESPN now. I'm good. I'll never need another customer. I used to think that way, but now I look at it where I service every single customer to my fullest capability, and everyone gets 100% of me, no matter, regardless of budgets, regardless of work, what the project is. But I also make sure that I don't know. I spend a lot of time with myself, and I think, and once again, does that make sense? I guess
it does. Do you say no to clients?
I would say clients say no to me in a healthy way, like potential customers that don't like my vernacular, maybe, because I say dude instead of sir, or I may, and that's not because of a level of disrespect by any means. That I've been blessed to being able to service you, and you've got that, I hope, satisfactory feel. But I'm not, I legitimately asked you if I should have a shirt on for this call.
Yes, you did.
Like I actually put pants on just because I was afraid that the camera angle would actually show the bottoms. So my point is, like, I think that there is, just like anything in the world, people like to work with people, and I'm definitely not everybody's cup of tea. Not because I'm better, by no means. They may not like the fact that this dude legitimately, like, never has clothes on when I call him. They don't see that. You hear my heart. Like,
sure,
they don't.
Sure.
That's not the point. But
Chenzo, you've heard me say before that we attract who we are and we attract what we put out.
Right.
So the fact that you show up a certain way, that you're very clear on what your values are. You're very clear on the types of people that you want to work with. And you don't put on airs, right? You're not trying to be a certain way. And for me, that's something that I was drawn to because I respect that. And so I would have to think that the clients that you're working with, those that are picking up the phone or reaching out to you on social to do work together, they know who you are, right? They understand the type of person you are, and they're completely okay with that, because what really matters to them is not only the connection that they make, but the results that you deliver.
Yeah, and as always, man, I can't tell you how much I appreciate the compliments in between these conversations. But yeah, I guess that's probably pretty much it. I think ultimately, whenever you've given me these opportunities to speak to your audience, I want anyone who's listening to this to know that it's possible for you. Like, that person that's listening, some of these statements may be cliche, but like, if I legitimately could do it, and whether it's web or if it's mowing a lawn, I promise you, if you show up, answer the phone, do what you say you're going to do, and render services, there's always going to be someone that's going to do it better than you. I've had to accept that years ago. There's always going to be somebody that has better tools, maybe this, but what I can always do is show up. I can always show up, and I can do what I say I'm going to do. And that's probably what keeps me agile in this very crowded space of digital environment. But I think it applies to all things. Even the niche, think about it. There's probably still products out there that have shelf life. There's still hundreds of different types of phones being produced and manufactured, right?
Mhm.
It's not just Apple. It's not just iPhones. There's hundreds. In the States, they capitalize. But the minute you do realize that there's Google search smartphones in 2021, you have hundreds of options. Make people not know that, the average consumer. But my point is, I don't focus anymore when I was younger on the quantity effect. Like who doesn't want to be Jeff Bezos rich? I think you would be lying if you said you didn't want that at some point in your life. And there's nothing wrong with even wanting it in your entire life. But knowing that there is a customer that will hire you for your services, and like you said, for your personality, I think is what's kept me agile, and it's been a blessing, because I have my fetal positions, very much like I'm sure I know you do. And I
Mhm.
know there's people out there that may not be vulnerable enough to share them, but whether it's a restaurant that opens up next door that sells the same damn food you do, and you're like, shit, what am I going to do? I feel like you still can succeed. I think that there's people that want to go to that restaurant, even though the one next door may be cheaper or better, but they don't have that same personality. They don't have that feeling and that energy that's metaphysical, that just feels good. It just
Yeah.
feels better in that. And this is better than I do. The best venues and the best places that you spend your time have a smell to them, whether it's literal or figurative, that you just enjoy. Like we vibe so well. Like you've been to my house many times. If it smelt bad and it was irritating to be in there, I probably couldn't get you to come if I paid you,
Well,
right?
I would have told you by now. I
They're
would have
like,
told you
Dave,
after the first time there.
amp up that oil machine over there in that corner.
Exactly.
Um,
But
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 no,
I
I
think
think
I think to your point though, there is a comfort level that we establish when we are working with someone. And
mm,
it's almost like putting on a really comfortable pair of jeans.
mm,
And when you establish that level of comfort with someone, you almost you're in sync with one another to the point where they know you so well. They know your needs. They can anticipate your needs. They can anticipate the direction that you're looking to go and
right.
can think 3 and 4 steps ahead.
Mm,
And I feel like that is one of the areas that you do very well. That when you're lockstep with a client, it's beyond we talk about transactional versus relational.
mm. You
And
taught me that, by the way.
well, and you're very focused on the relational side. And
Mm,
I know that's important to you. And it's important to me as well. But I think that allows you to be able to grow the way that you've grown in your business, because you're not just looking at a client as one web design or one social post. It's how can I help you today, tomorrow, and the day after and keep this going? And then, by the way, connect you with others who can also help you in both life and business. And that's developing relationships, right? That's
right.
going deeper with someone than just the transactional side of the relationship.
No, you hit the nail on the head, man. And you, once again, for those that are listening to this, you were the first person that I'd ever had used that in a sentence before. I had never, I guess I was executing it involuntarily, but I didn't realize that there was actually a big, and it's weird because I don't think that there's any in between. It's like a blood type. You can't change it. And I don't want to sound cynical or like I don't have hope in humanity, but though, like all those out there that deal with customers, immediate. Oh, well, I feel like it comes with time and comes with acute senses, and I'm still learning mine. But whatever industry you're in, you almost can start to kind of taste it. It's like palpable. You can like feel it. That those that are transactional, and that's okay. There's nothing. You taught me too. Like there's nothing wrong with someone going mow my lawn. I don't want to be your best friend. And that's okay. Now, for those that are hopeless romantics, it hurts me a little bit, whether I'm mowing your lawn or, building you a website. I want to be your bestie. That's one of my kryptonites. Like I do want to be everybody's buddy. And it stinks sometimes when they don't want to be your buddy. So you got to deal with that. But business being business, because we all heard business isn't personal. I think it's personal, but then again, I'm not a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate either. If I had 10,000 customers a day, maybe I couldn't be as personable. So I get it. So my little, my whimsical, happy, euphoric way of thinking may not be applicable to those big conglomerates out there. I get it. But for me, and for those that are near around my backyard, we're not billionaires, and I think it's good to pursue a lifestyle of, I think the word success is just sometimes it's just abused. I think people are selling success, and I think it's something that's not sold. I think it's something that's practiced. And I think it's like, you can't sell fitness, but you can sell the practice of fitness, because it takes, and this as well as I do, it's like, you're only as good as your last 24. Shout out to the chief of police that told me that. So like, I may have a successful day to day, right? Like Jay Shear calls me, I land him as a customer, I build him a website, and then, but that now what, right? Like, so I think when you put the relationship first, which you and I did, you and I are literally a byproduct of, probably, if I had an ideal customer, it would have your face on it, because you and I stimulated a relationship for I don't know how long, because I wasn't keeping track, and you weren't in a CRM system. You didn't get an email, and there's nothing wrong with those two. I'm not down talking that either.
Sure.
But you didn't get like a shout out for me every other week, like, still interested in that website, like whatever. And once again, for those that use sales funnels and those approaches, I understand that. But with you, it was like the epitome of a real, like, hey, like, I think I want you to help me here. And I was like, really? I would be honored. But it happened naturally. And I think those customers, like, if those people out there that are listening to this are lucky enough to have clientele like I get, which has come with time. Like, I don't handpick customers. You look for the people like a Jay Shear. You look for the customers that are looking for a relationship. And once again, whether you're mowing lawns or building buildings, relationships last the longest. They all will crumble. Everything that you build or service will have a shelf life. But one thing that doesn't is I think relationships. And that's probably conversations like this, even though we're in a public forum, your private conversations with me have paid me more than any check you've ever written me, Jay.
Well, I appreciate that. It goes both ways. And I just want to qualify something that you said, because I completely agree with it. And that is that business is personal. It is personal. And I take it very personally, as I know that you do as well. So when I hear the other side of the coin on that, it sends up a red flag for me when someone says that, because I'm not sure how you would be able to separate the personal from the professional, right? Unless you're showing up as someone who is completely masking who they truly are. And that happens. We know that, right?
Right.
I've shared with you, the changes that I've been through, the evolutions that I've been through throughout my career. So I get it that it's out there, but it is very personal. But I love you have a very unique definition of success, and all of our the way that we define success is a very personal thing. And I don't define it based on a metric around money. Your definition to be tied to rest is an interesting one. And I think, as I'm listening to you and as I've listened to you to unpack that a bit, what I hear is the freedom that comes with doing what you want to do, the freedom that comes by doing good work, the freedom that comes when you're able to decide who you want to work with, when you want to do the work, and that you've created a structure for your life that, I don't want to use the word balance, but you've been able to integrate all the different pieces and parts that are most important to you and that keep yourself centered and keep yourself grounded. And you've been able to accomplish that, which I think is wonderful. And it shows in your personality. It shows in the way that you're here today, the way that you show up every day. And, when I find out, as an example, that you're walking the dogs at the beach, right? While other people might be behind a desk somewhere or out in a service truck somewhere, which is, everyone does things
Right.
their own way, but you've structured it in such a way that gives you a tremendous amount of energy.
Right.
And I think that's powerful.
Well, I appreciate that. But two notes before I forget them. Are we okay on time? I don't know. Are we
Absolutely.
all right, groovy. Um, the highlighting back and going to the businesses and personal, which is unique because I feel like when people take an opportunity to listen to anyone on formats like this, I think it's nice to be beyond like a little bit more candid than normal. So I'll share with you something that I haven't shared yet really in a public forum, maybe tidbits of it on my podcast, but I don't really talk about it much. But I think that there is a really fine line between, because I love being personal
Mm-hmm.
with business, but I also don't tell anybody about my business, right? Not my business like work wise, but when I had my injury, right? I didn't tell anybody about that. The days that I maybe had to squeeze more work in at a smaller amount of time because I was going to doctor's visits and I was going to physical therapy and an 8-hour day of workload. I had to cram into 3, and I don't benchmark my life that way, but I know I started to have to put clothes on and go out of the house to go to appointments that started to bleed into what I would normally be doing for things like this and actual work and follow-up calls, etc. So my point is this, though. I think there's playing devil's advocacy about those that may go like business is not personal. Yeah, I agree with those people. I agree that you shouldn't be talking about, in my opinion, you shouldn't be talking about your mom being sick or your dad having this. No, it's okay if you do. If your customers are confiding in you, and I feel like this chat may be for those. This is almost like B2B people. Like this is a business talking to people out there that may be running a business or thinking about running a business. It's okay if your customers are confiding in you. If they aren't, they're probably not good customers anyways. They're probably going to tell you. It's like being a hairdresser, right? Like you're going to hear 90% of their life and you're going to cut their hair the other 10%. Like in this case, I realize that, but with me, I'm extremely open, but I don't talk about the things that are not uplifting and fruitful and happy. So when I was going through my injury, I didn't tell anyone customer like, hey, workloads never came at the same frequency they would whether I was in laid out or not. But my point is, I don't talk about that stuff. And I talked about it with you, which was really unique for me because you legitimately were the only person that I talked to about it that wasn't blood. Like I mean that. Like I didn't, because it was hard for me to actually involve recreation and business because you are a customer of mine and you're very dear to me. And not just financially, like it's your relationship's important. And when I started taking that gamble of like, bro, I'm not doing good, that's hard because I put myself in a vulnerable position that if let's just say you were your atypical person, and I can be rather cynical sometimes and think 80% don't care, 20% are glad it isn't them. Which you don't apply to that number, you're an anomaly. But you listened and you didn't go like, oh shit, my website's going to crash, or like he's never going to get my stuff done. This dude's broken, but not to mention my mental brokenness was worse than my physical. That part is tough. So for those that are listening to this is still new to me. All of this is still, I have no idea what I'm sincerely really doing. I don't think anyone really knows, but I think how I'm navigating through this is it's a very private thing for me to share with anyone what really is going on. Where is my mental state and where am I physically? Because it can be used against you versus being for you. And not a lot of people really do care about you. And you hear my heart. Like
Sure.
I know you know this and it resonates to you, but hear my heart for those that are listening to this, people. It probably would behoove you to be personal and to engage and to listen with your customers But as far as telling them how much you can't stand something or your issues at life, that should be weighed into massive consideration. Um, and that's something that I actually make a conscious move, because it's hard not to be personal, all things, because I am. So for me not to share, with whether it's getting a phone call in the midst of walking into PT, I don't say like, "Hey, I got to call you back. I'm walking into physical therapy." I say, "Hey, I'm walking into an engage, meeting, etc." So once again,
Right.
bear with me, because I'm not saying, I'm not endorsing lying and coming up with, veils of lies. It's just more of, I feel like there is some sensitivity to keeping your shit, you know. But
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that's a fair statement to make. And I also think that you're a good read on people. So you can sense, you can typically sense when someone is in a place where they can receive the information that you're sharing and they care enough and they have enough empathy to be able to share back, right? To be able to help you out in some way, some shape or form.
right,
And there is a fine line there though, and you
yeah,
have to know what that is, and you're certainly not going to share your personal issues or your personal challenges with everyone.
right.
But when you do develop that type of relationship, wow, I mean, it can really just
Well,
really expand your
right.
view of things dramatically.
Like you and I, we're a very rare statistic. Like we really went into a relationship together, which I think I actually have hope in humanity, and I think we're a growing segment. I really do. I think people are starting to realize that I am the dude that actually talks with the guy that mows my lawn for as long as it takes him to mow my lawn. But I recharge that way. So I would say, as long as your motive is pure and there's sincerity in it, then it's okay. But if I talk to the guy mowing my lawn for 30 minutes to get a $5 discount, which people do, I would say you've killed yourself on both ends, because your motive wasn't pure to begin with, and you were hoping for a discount, which maybe you didn't get, and now you just robbed yourself of 30 minutes of alone time, or
Yes.
family time. And I think that's what I'm. And once again, I hope those that are listening to me, for Jay to ask me to give this talk means the world to me, because I have no. I mean, I'm not saying this to sound funny or cool. Like, I legitimately have no idea what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing work wise. I know what I'm doing in the services I'm providing. I'm not going to sit there and claim that. But as far as how I've got to here, I look behind me, and there's no footprints. I feel like every single day I wake up, it would be in the analogy of footsteps in the sand. Like, I have no idea how I got here, except for not stopping, except for, some of my golden secrets are legitimately hardcore spending a tremendous amount of obnoxious time with myself, to the point of I hate it. And that's good.
Hmm.
It's literally what's made me where I'm at, is being okay when it's not okay. Right. And I think that's no matter what business I'm in, and no matter what person has engaged me, as I'm getting older, and I don't know if this is everyone's normal's late 30s experiences, but people respect the shit out of me all of a sudden. I never had that. I used to tell people to turn the soccer lights off when I was 20, and they wouldn't even look at me twice. Now they say, "Yes, sir." I don't know why. I don't know if it's an age thing, but it's happening. And I don't know if it's because I bleed hopeful, I'm bleeding peace and rest, because I don't want anything or anyone to affect that. And it takes a constant waking up, and no matter what is on my plate, to make sure that before I execute it, I got to be okay. It was really, really hard to get through that injury, and it was really, really hard to get where I'm at now. And I'm not even anywhere near done. I'm still in it. And
Well, you've made incredible progress. You truly have, and the transformation that's taken place over the amount of time that I've known you has really been remarkable, and it's great to see. And we the feeling that you have right now when people respond to you the way that they do, which might be different than the way that they responded to you in the past, that's we you've earned that over time, right? That's putting in the time. That's putting in a lot of hard work. That's putting in a lot of work on yourself, right? Developing yourself. And it's what ends up happening is you raise your own vibration level, your own energy level.
Mm.
And when you do that, it's almost like your light shines brighter. I don't want to get woo woo, but it's
No,
almost that way, right? So when you're around certain people, they can see that, they can feel
right,
that, they can sense that, and that's attractive, right?
right,
People want to be around that.
right.
And so anyway, with that said, I want to go back to your definition of success and why we started this conversation in the first place. I love your definition. It is your own unique definition and it's working for you. And that's really what this is all about. And I'm hoping that those that are listening to this are going to realize that there is no specific way that success is created.
Mm.
Success does leave clues, right? So there are things that are repeatable, but it is so personal. It's so
Mm-hmm.
personal. And you take 10 different people who are achieving success in their life, however that's defined, and you're going to see 10 completely different ways
Mm-hmm.
of conducting themselves.
Yep.
And I think that's just an amazing part of humanity. And so I appreciate you sharing what success looks like for you and how you're delivering it in your business and life every day. And I want you to know how much I'm grateful for you and how much I appreciate you being in my world. It certainly made me a better person, and you keep pushing me on a regular basis to show up better, to continue to improve, and just keep pushing back on me. And I appreciate that. I truly do.
Well, it's absolutely reciprocated, man. I can't tell. I would need a 4 hour segment to go into depth about what you've done for me, irregardless of professionally, all encompassing, called being a man and a human being. And it's been a breath of fresh air. And I appreciate you identifying it and reminding me what keeps me going. And I will tell you this though, when you texted me and said, could you do this? And the topic was going to be success. I don't know why the word rest hit me so well. And I'm not going to once again act like I like preach this and I've said it before. This is all fresh for me because it's constant. I'm in my own evolution, but I can say, I think it's probably no irony that when people die, we say rest in peace.
Mm.
I think I think it should be like right now. Like, I feel like everyone listening, including myself and Jay, if there's one thing that I could bestow and ask for Jay when we talk privately, I ask him, how are you doing? How is your health? How is your rest? I don't say rest, but I'm going to start saying that more often. But you know me, I'm asking you kind of like, how you feeling? And I think that it's no irony that we say it to those that are now like gone. I think we should look for it now, look for the rest and the peace now. And also, when you feel confused, and I love that you said woo woo, like if you're getting woo woo I don't think we can have a conversation without getting woo woo, brother. But when you feel like, I was thinking about this the other day, and I feel like if you look at what an enemy does to an opposing enemy, it's not always immediate death. It can't be done usually that way, whether it's country on country or if it's company on company. I think that the most decisive, most hurtful way of hurting somebody is to cause confusion. And if you're able to bring clarity to a customer, whatever industry you're in, once again, I keep for some reason using the analogy of mowing a lawn today, but whether you're mowing a lawn, building a phone, building a company, or whatever it is, giving a massage, if that, when you take that burden off of them for that part of that, when you're rendering those services, I think that's probably the eureka moment in any person's situation, where that's where my slogan came from. I do web so you can do you. People don't want to deal with it. And some can. Same thing with hiring a personal trainer. anyone can do push-ups, but for some reason we need accountability sometime, and we
Hmm.
need someone to take that off of our plate. Health, nutrition, et cetera, et cetera. Look at it in that scheme. And I think if you can hear me out there, those that may be listening to this at any point, today or my last day, I would hope that everyone realize that success is achievable. It's not 10 years from now, and it's not on the last sheet of the business plan. It's right now, and it's a way you can implement it yesterday. And that is provide rest and provide peace to that customer, and alleviate the confusion and the dismay that they've been dealing with. And you'll watch, they won't stop coming back. And I didn't
Love it.
know that I don't know where that came from, but that's where I think if I were able to have to give this to somebody, like, here, you know, build the house for somebody because they can't, and they will ask for another house the next time they need one. And I think that is that kind of making sense. I went woo woo, brother.
No, that actually makes perfect sense, and I think we'll leave it on that note because I could not say it any better than that. So thank you, my friend. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. Are we cutting off now? Or are we
We're good, man. We're
okay,
good.
brother?
How about you? You good
I'm
with
good.
this?
Yeah, like, I'm fantastic. This
Okay.
was excellent. I just didn't know if you like cut it off and then we kept talking, or
Yeah.
we
No,
good?
no, we're good. I'll
Okay.
do a little bit of editing here and there and just kind of put
Okay.
some things together for context, but this is perfect. Thank you.
Hey, man, you're welcome. Thank you.
All right, buddy.
All right, buddy.
Talk to you soon. All right,
You
see
got
ya.
it, man.
Bye
Like,
bye.